Hola, bom dia. Welcome to the Good Morning Portugal show with me, Carl Munson, from expatsportugal.com. Now, if you want to dance and eat and sing and enjoy yourself in central Portugal or any other part of Portugal, as you saw in the intro sequence there, you're in the right place. Here we keep the Portuguese pilot light lit, and on a Monday morning, we welcome. Let's bring her onto the screen now because she's a busy woman and she's got other things to do as well as talk to us. I know there are people waiting. Look, Lenan de Souza is here, waiting for Gilda. Isn't that amazing? You are the rock star of migration, Gilda. People waiting for you. Give it up to see you on the screen. How are you?
Hello, Lian. Thank you. Hi, Carl. Good morning.
Lovely to see you here. How's it going?
Everything's going fine.
Good. We won't keep you too long because that pile of visa applications grows by the day, doesn't it? Interest in Portugal, your reputation, all of that's going really well and creating lots of work for you. So we shouldn't keep you too long, but you're welcoming questions coming in from people about anything to do with visas, but also Portuguese culture, because we love talking to you about that. And we should say we won't keep you too long this morning because people will have another chance to speak to you at the webinar this week, which if I can find it, is this very here we go. Residency visas, myths and facts. Gilda will be back with us on Thursday for a full-length session talking about any aspect of residency visas, the myths and the facts. Join us for that from 7:30 on Thursday. So make sure you sign up for that one. And just need to find out how to take that off the screen now so we can look at Gilda again. Oh, there we go. Excellent. Yeah, so Midsummer's Day, I was asking you before the show if there's anything special about the celebration of Midsummer's Day. It's not very summery, Gilda. What's happened to the weather?
I don't know, but you know that I have something that I've worked in myself for a lot of years, that I don't let the weather to interfere with my humor and with my day.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. And
because everybody is saying, oh, today is a raining day. Oh, maybe you're feeling like this because of the weather. And I said, no, it's not the weather that is going to stop me, you know. So I don't look at the weather. I don't know what the weather is going to be like. And regardless the weather, you know, I need to feel how I need to feel.
Oh, well said. That's a great philosophy to take away. We have other philosophy today. Garvo has created a midsummer message for us, a bit of some wisdom, basically, from our man of reason from the man cave. So we'll come to that after Gilda has left us this morning. Let's say hello to a few people. Lenan, as we saw before, de Souza, bon dia, waiting for Gilda. Bon dia from Jim White in Baltimore. Jacqueline CDM. We'll do these very quickly this morning. Hope you all had a good weekend. I think we did. Thank you very much indeed, Jacqueline. Good morning, everyone, from Elra as well. The man himself, Garvo, bon dia, alegria. We'll come back to him later. Edmundo Viegas in the Algarve. Bon dia, Carl. Bon dia, Gilda. I haven't got the summer sun, but I've got summer flies in here. I can tell you that. They've come early this year. Jersey is here. Hola, bon dia, and Gilda. Christian and Natividad. That's a beautiful name. Good morning from Los Angeles there to you, Christian. And just sharing, it says Edmundo, appreciate your efforts on our behalf. Edmundo, taximan, transferman, Edmundo, bon dia, alegria, Carl, Gilda, and all from a rainy Brixham in Devon. Seems to be raining in many places this morning. Snatty Phil, hola, bon dia, alegria. Mustafa, hello, everyone. A big shout out to Gilda. Thank you for my step plan. That's how it works. Nice one, Phil. Bon dia from Stephen Wells, who was also a great asset in the man cave on Friday night. What I'd love to know, Gilda, is how you got into this business, this service that you do, because I know it's not just a business, is it? This is a humanitarian thing for you. You were moved to do it, as I understand.
Yes, this is about my life, and this is about the story of my family life. Okay, my grandparents migrate to Angola, and then my parents lived there, and there was a civil war, and my mom came to Portugal just to give me birth because the country was at war. And when I was 4 months old, I went back to Angola with them. So my whole life was, when I grew up, was taking care of the papers to renew my visa there, to renew my resident permit over there. And then when I came to Portugal, it was like I didn't belong here. So I had to take care of all my papers to fit in again. And when the economic crisis in Portugal hit us very, very badly in 2008, I had to go back to Angola. And I thought it was going to be easy because I lived there for almost all my life, but it wasn't. So I took some advice, some wrong advice that told me, oh, you should come as a tourist. And then because you lived here for so many years, it's going to be easy for you to have your resident permit. So I took that advice and I went. And you know what happened to me? I was in the country irregular for 11 months.
What do you
Can
mean?
you imagine?
You weren't treated correctly. You were treated as a foreigner, effectively, as an invader almost for 11 months.
No, what happened was that I went as a tourist and my time ran out, but my resident permit didn't get out.
Oh, okay.
So I was trapped in a country without a visa. With my tourist visa was expired, and the response from the government didn't come out. And so it was a very hard period for me. And then I got pregnant, and things only got worse because I was pregnant without no papers in that country. Yeah. Very stressful. And I had to find a way to come out of it. So I went to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I didn't live there until I had a response. So I found out that my process was approved like 1 month after it got in, only it was forgotten in someone's drawer for 11 months. And I was suffering all the time. So I got my resident permit, and I was happy because I was pregnant. And one thing is when you are responsible for yourself, and another thing when you are responsible for you and another human being. Yeah. So from that day on, which was in 2008, I didn't stop helping people to get their resident permits. The only thing I did was, at that time I was living in Angola, so I was helping people to get their visas and their resident permits in Angola, and help the companies to settle in over there, to make their investments correctly. And so that's how it starts, based on my experience, my traumatizing experience, helping other people how to get their papers done well. So that was like the very beginning, okay? But when I decided to come back to Portugal in 2015, I said, well, I don't think I will fit in working for someone, after the whole experience that I had in Angola, because I had lots of freedom. Although I was reporting to some boss, I was like the top person in the country. So I didn't have anyone above me in Angola. So all the reports were done internationally. And for me, it was going to be very hard to come back to Portugal and go to work in a law office or a company where I would be just another one, after the whole job that I did and many things that I achieved. I was actually, my last job, I was a rig manager,
from
yes.
Really?
I was a rig manager from the land operations. And it's very complex, and I had to deal with 250 people.
Yes.
And sometimes the conditions were not the better. So I felt that I could do something on my own. I had the experience, I have gone through a lot of things, and I have made some savings that I could go to jump to my own business. And when the decision came, what is this business going to be about? I thought it's going to be about migration. And that's when everybody told me, Gilda got crazy. Even my family. She just got crazy. Yeah.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, that's the question. They were like, why do you want to do that? You can do so many other things. You are so good as a consultant. Because I used to be a tax consultant. You can be a tax consultant. You can be this. You can be so many other things. You can be, and I said, because I want. I want. This is my passion. I read a lot about migration, Portuguese. history is attached with migration. This is my passion. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
But to be honest, in 2015, not many people wanted to come to Portugal, and my parents were right. I was a bit crazy to choose that. So I started with helping people, Portuguese, that still wanted to go abroad.
Okay.
Mainly to Angola, because it was the reality that I knew better. So I started to help them. And then 1 year after, in 2016, the Brazilians started to come.
Yep.
So I got very specialized in the Brazilian law and Brazilian migration and everything that had to do with Brazil. I did that for almost 2 years only. And only in 2018, I started working with other nationalities like South Africa, United States, and many others in Asia also. But the boom was in 2019, 2020. We had a little bit because of the pandemic. Things slow down a little bit, but I may say that many people in the pandemic were writing to me saying that I have plans. So I started giving this consultation. So when people could move, they started the process.
Amazing. And I think it's fair to say you were the first of this kind. And you were celebrated in this. I've got a magazine cover to share here. This is you being celebrated in a magazine in Portugal, which I think underlines the fact that you were the first into this business, and that despite people telling you were crazy to get into it, you were actually a visionary.
Yes, I guess so. I don't know if I was a visionary or if I just got lucky, but I was in many magazines and newspapers, and like this kiddo opened this company to help people to come to Portugal, and they were almost like treating me like, oh, so cute, such a cute idea, but it's not going to get you anywhere. But
is that what you've been up against then? I mean, it's difficult being a woman in business sometimes, and being young as well. Is that the angle that was taken? Is that you were like, some sort of crazy young woman who had this incredible dream, so they would sort of tolerate and maybe patronize you a little bit?
Yes. I think for the media it was. But on my day-to-day, I don't feel that being a woman, it's a problem for me, to be honest. It never was. I told you I was a rig manager, so I was putting all those men in place.
I can imagine. I mean, there are some interesting characters who work on oil rigs, right? And mainly men, and a particular kind of tough guy, I think, on the oil rig. So you learn a lot about life and a lot about relationships with people in a workplace there, I suspect.
I did, and that when they say too many, usually it's 28, but sometimes if the person that does your job doesn't show up, you stay longer.
Yeah.
And sometimes when people stayed longer, they got a bit crazy. It was part of the job. And then I had to fly into the rig and try to talk to them and try to calm them down. And
so that's a thing, is it, on oil rigs? People can, after a while, become a little bit.
For sure.
Wow,
it happens quite often.
How amazing! I love how you've crafted your life philosophy from all of these different experiences you've had. A very interesting comment from Elra. 2010 to 2018, that was a period where most people were going out of the country, not in. That's the time I left too, says Elra. And we connect a lot with a lot of Portuguese people around the world, which is something we weren't expecting on this show in the morning. It's lovely to be able to do that. But you can forget that, can't you? That it's in these last few years that Portugal has become an incredibly attractive place to come. And really, you're part of that. I mean, you're an amazing part of that, which I hope the authorities and people in industry recognize, if not now, as sometime soon.
Yeah, I think they already recognize, because sometimes when they have doubts about how to act, mainly with the laws, sometimes I get calls from someone in the government.
Oh,
saying, Gilda, can you please help me? How should we approach this? And how should we do this? And I was actually invited twice to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to discuss about migration. So I think that they are already aware of what I do, and they already appreciate it in a way.
Yes, and if I might be nosy, then does that one day lead to you having a job in government and being a politician, possibly advising on these sorts of things?
I don't know. It's not an ambition, but who knows? It may happen.
You would be amazing. You would be amazing. I think
it may happen.
Yeah, politics.
You know that many people that work there, they only have the theory. They don't have the practicing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
when they call me, it's because they want to know, Gilda, in reality, what is going on? What is happening? Can you tell us?
Yeah.
And I tell them, and then they do what they need to do.
Yes, indeed. And there's a reference to Vasco da Gama, of course, who is a very important part of Portuguese history, who Linan says here discovered a sea route to India. Gilda helps Indians migrate with an air route to Portugal. Thank you. Yes, things have changed a little bit. It's a bit easier since Vasco's day, isn't it? I don't know what sort of advice Vasco was getting from people about, like maybe, there's the sea. Go and have a look. That was probably about as good as it got in those days, wasn't it? And off he went, and amazing things happened for the Portuguese people, and the Portuguese influence felt around the world to this day. And I discover something new pretty much every week about how Portugal is somewhere else in the world with this great spirit of adventure. And now it's turned around in some ways, isn't it? Or that's the next thing, is the people around the world are heading back this way and discovering Portugal for themselves. And it's the reverse Vasco move, I guess you might say.
Yes, and I hope that this, I truly believe that this wave of migration to Portugal is going to continue, at least in the next 2 years. And it's going to help Portugal to get out, or not to get out, or even not to get in economic crisis as bad as it, because we depend on tourism, as you know. And it's our main income comes from tourism, and with all these things we were very affected. But if you look at the real estate business, it didn't went down.
Yes.
Why not? Because many people are buying properties, many people are relocating to Portugal. So it's my belief and my hope that Portugal is not going to be affected by this world economic crisis. And then I hope they will recognize the hard work I have bringing so many people, helping so many people to come to Portugal.
Yeah,
because, I feel part of it,
Of course you should, and if they don't, I'm sure your fans and friends here will hold a reception for you near the government buildings and invite a few people who should know about you. So we won't keep you too long. As I say, you're going to be back with us on Thursday. Just a very quick question, Maria Costa, actually from our Ask Our Expats team. Hi from Tomar this morning, Central Portugal. I haven't run out for the second vaccine, but this is so important to me. Gilda, can I reach out to you directly about a very specific visa issue? I'll be gone, so I hope the answer is yes. I'm sure the answer is yes there.
Yes, of course.
It's every level. It can be specifics after somebody's got here. You can help with that as well as somebody who's making their way here, right?
Yeah. I do help people that have specific questions when they are already here.
All right, so get in touch with... Sorry, Gilda, carry on.
One thing that I was going to say is that because you mentioned how we start, this is about me in the first place. This is about my passion. This is about helping people, and this is also about helping my country. So I am very grateful for what I do, and I know that sometimes I cannot respond as fast as people would like to, but please understand that I prefer to be to render a customized service than a faster service, and I hope people understand that.
I'm sure they do. That can't happen yesterday, can it? That takes time, and and this is a very difficult issue for people. They want answers, and they want them quickly because they are planning the rest of their lives, and there's a balance to be struck in this. And if you want a good job, it has to be done in a certain staged and steady way, I think, rather than rushing into this sort of thing. So, yeah, well said there, Gilda. Another quick one before you go from Daniel. Hello from Denmark this morning. A family of 4 from Denmark in the EU, of course. We'll be traveling to Portugal soon. How long can we stay before registering a permanent address and applying for the NHR? So EU residents, what they have to let the government know after 90 days, is it?
Yes, 3 months. It's the maximum, but usually they try to be very fast because they want to have their lives sorted out. So as sooner they do it, the best, because they can have they can make their enrollment in the Portuguese health system, and they can apply for the NHR.
Okay, so
the sooner the better.
There you go, Daniel. And in the comments, you'll find a connection to Gilda and the team. Jim from Baltimore, we know he's a fan, and I'm grateful too, as well as everyone else. Thank you, Gilda. So final thought, before we do see you on Thursday for the residency visa myths and facts session. That'll be a good hour and a half. It'll be great value as ever. Some of our most popular videos on YouTube, the YouTube channel about the visa, people wanting to come to Portugal, quite understandably. Even, as you say, Gilda, in this most difficult year for people all over the world, this is proving to be an incredible destination. And life is good here, despite the challenges that people are feeling globally. It's a great place to come. And Gilda can help you with that. The other great comment that we should include, of course, is this one. Where's Snatty Phil saying what was said to Vasco, of course, as well. Where are we? Yes, they said to Vasco, said Snatty Phil, don't go. Are you mad? There's a similar theme here. Thank you. You are in very good company.
They told me. It's what they told me. You know, someone, my family told me, Gilda, we are going to support you, but you need to realize that you are going to work as an artist. You are going to work because you love that, but it's not going to give you enough money to sustain yourself. And you need to be ready for that. And the truth is that I now have 22 people working for me on my team.
Wow, look at you. Amazing, amazing. I just think it's going to get bigger and better, and you are destined for high places and greatness in the whole sort of Portuguese culture. Gilda, always great to talk to you on a Monday. Have a great day. Lots of love to you and the team.
You too. Have a great week. See you on the 24th for the webinar.
See you then.
Looking forward.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
There she goes, Gilda Pereira from EI or Ei Migrant. And I'll put the connection to the listing in our expatsportugal.com business directory on the screen right now so that you can see it. And look, yeah, this is Gilda, I believe back in 2018, being celebrated in a business magazine. Then, as she said, celebrated and acknowledged by many at the time, and she's part of this wave. I mean, it probably has a name, doesn't it? The rise. You know how the island with the sort of Celtic tiger. I'm sure other minds or better memories than mine will have known of a little phrase about Portugal and its rise to fame and fortune in these recent years. Which I guess, if you're tuned in here, we're all a part of that. As well. So Elra's always good for a comment coming in. Just a fun fact, in the building where my parents live, along with 19 other families, all the families have their children living abroad. Remind me, please, Elra, where are you? And where are your parents with that little fun fact there? And we'll catch up with a few hellos into the comments as well. It's a good morning from Saudi this morning. From Sakir Shankiti. Good morning, Sakir. Good morning to you. How are you? Jim McDonald in Wiesbaden, Germany, of course. And a bon dia to me and to Gilda. The heat wave seems to have broken, at least for now. Yeah, what is it with this weather? Like I said to you earlier when we opened up on the show, it's Midsummer's Day, isn't it? They call it the longest day. You know, you would think, wouldn't you, it would be like 25, 26, 27 hours long if it was the longest day. Obviously, the longest amount of daylight today. The summer solstice, much more important to our ancestors, of course, who were much more in tune with the light patterns and rhythms of that kind before electric light, etc. What do you do, if anything, that connects you to nature in that way? Do you have any sort of midsummer celebration? We've got a fantastic midsummer message from Gary, who was up early this morning. I think Gary Austin, this is a vital part of this community. And he was up and out and about in Al Fayazra. I'll actually show you now the swings from where he was reporting in Alvázora. This is part of one of the wonderful things about Portuguese culture is the kind of civic provision. And look at this. This is a swing up on a mountain, I believe, or the highlands of Alvázora. But look at it. I mean, that's a dismal, that's a grim old day up there in central Portugal this morning. I think he was probably up there about 6 in the morning, making this little message for us. But these are the little quirky things you'll find, as well as the river beaches and the picnic areas, incredible play areas. And Garvo was up there being all philosophical earlier on this morning, and we'll bring you that message in a little while. We've got a lovely little continuation of the story of little Noah, who went missing last week and was found, thankfully, again. But the message from the Alvázora swings, put that on your list of things to visit in Portugal. Excellent civic provision of, local and family life, and an example of it there. But look at that weather. Not brilliant. I think that's a picture we're getting from all over Portugal on this Midsummer's Day, ironically. Okay, who else is here this morning? Bon dia from Paul Williams as well. Bon dia, Alegria, from a very wet Hampshire this morning. Good morning to you, Paul. Yeah, it's reflective moods all over the place, I think, with this dampness and this dinginess in the weather, certainly. But remember what Gilda says. She made a decision never to let the weather affect her mood. Isn't that brilliant? Hi from a sandstorm in the Middle East. Real gritty over there from Wendy Van Heerden. Good morning to you, Wendy. Thank you for that message from the Middle East and your sandstorm. Hope you're okay there. Getting a bit sandblasted. What do you do when you just have to stay indoors till that blows over, obviously? But what's that like? As it... we had hailstones here in the last couple of weeks, but I can't imagine what it'd be like to be pelted with sand and sand papered down. Maybe it's good for the complexion. I don't know. Hola, bon dia a todos from Paul and Louise. Still in central Portugal, folks. And Bearder's 22, 31 days and counting. Definitely counting there. The countdown for coming towards Portugal. Brilliant. Bearder's 22 or Casa Bearder's 20 or Familia Bearder's 22 there. James in Skipton this morning. That's in Yorkshire, in case you didn't know. North Yorkshire, right? Bon dia from there. And Lee McGrady, head gardener Lee McGrady. If you want to ask questions about anything horticultural, gardening related, join us just after 6 this evening for our weekly gardening Q&A, of course, of which Paul and Louise are fans and contributors. And we appreciated a little nosy into your garden last week, Louise and Paul and Lottie. And if anybody else wants to share pictures of their homestead, we love doing that. It's like through the keyhole in a horticultural way, if you remember that program. Yep, okay, that we covered that comment from Elrob, but we want to find out where you went to, Elrob. Lucas is here. Bon dia to you, Lucas Kozanecki. And the Vasco da Gama comments, that was brilliant. Lena, thank you for that. Good vibes from Alvia Chaves. Good morning to you, Alvia. Mustafa, after obtaining a D7 residency permit, one must present monthly passive earning record every month or at the time of extension after 2 years. Sorry, Mustafa, you'll have to join us for the webinar to get the absolute right expert answer on that. But I don't think you have to present your earnings every month as part of the process. Although there may be some sort of refresher, I don't know. I'm not the person to ask about that. That's why we have experts like Gilda who we work with. Does it have to be fixed monthly income or can it be inconsistent? Again, my stab at that is that they're looking for an annual amount. And obviously, I'm sure the Portuguese government recognize that some people don't have absolutely bang on regular amounts of money coming in every month. The world isn't like that anymore, is it? That was great, Phil. Interested to know more about your comments about the man cave that you sent me this morning. It was a very interesting session on Friday. We were asking the question about why men appear to struggle with vulnerability. Was that how we put it? I can't remember, but it was to do with men and vulnerability. And my goodness, it got pretty vulnerable towards the end. There was a fair bit of posturing and blokiness, as you might expect from a man cave. But it was pretty good. And I'm proud of my brothers. Again, for an amazing 3 hours or so of conversation, which we've been doing on a Friday evening from 10 o'clock with a bit of extra footy coverage from 9. What are we making of the football? That was pretty upsetting. I went down to the local cafe to watch. I've got to say, I went to my new local cafe, which I love, and the lovely people there, expecting there to be an incredible atmosphere. Getting ready for me to shout out "Força Portugal," and I was alone in the cafe at first. So I think the pandemic effect has been that people are still a little bit afraid to go out. Good thing, bad thing. A good thing, I suppose, from the point of view of managing the pandemic and people, Portuguese people being obedient and compliant with the rules. Not that they shouldn't have been in the cafe. They could have been in the cafe, socially distanced and with masks on, etc., at the right times. But I was surprised to be Billy No Mates in my local cafe. Eventually joined by the proprietor and a couple of other people in the end. Bon dia, Suzanne. But it wasn't how I had it in my mind. I thought I was going to be there with all my new Portugal BFFs shouting for Portugal. But maybe they knew what the result was going to be, because that was really upsetting as well. To walk away from a 4-2 defeat to Germany, crestfallen, given that the image that I went into the cafe with was a bit disappointing. Terrible England match as well. And then you hear about Wales, who are glad to have lost to Italy. Bit boring so far, I've got to say, but our football coverage continues at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Okay, if that's of any interest to you, which I know increasingly is becoming of less and less interest to people. And that thing of certainly for the English fans, here we go again, is setting in, I believe. And that's a great comment from you about Vasco and the similarity between Vasco da Gama and my guest Gilda Pereira from Ei this morning. Cheers, Phil. Yes, Maria, in case you are still here, you're going to get a good answer from Gilda. Approach the team with that one. And yes, the families in Elra Linda's parents' building. Tell us more, Elra. Good morning from Brazil, from Nom Sobrenome. I think that's maybe a little wordplay there, especially for YouTube. We dealt with your question, didn't we, Daniel? Bon dia from our great friend Antonio F. I'm especially proud of the amount of Portuguese people who tune in. It's not just this is not an expat ghetto here. This is not expats only by any means, and I'm really delighted about that. So thank you to all the Portuguese. Special shout out and love for all the Portuguese people who tune into this program, who not only tune in but chip in as well, with great information and help for us who have chosen to make Portugal our home, or those who are thinking about it. And it was a shout out from Thunder Duck as well to Gilda. Hi, it's Randy W here, who goes on to say that Portugal is an incredible destination. Absolutely right, Thunder Duck. And another great pro-Portuguese sentiment coming in. Greetings from Sarajevo down in the Algarve, where the people smile and the stress disappears. A lot of people have got that in mind, Paul, as the feeling they're hoping to feel when they get here in Portugal. Yeah, keep flying that flag, Paul, for the Algarve. Other places are available in Portugal, I should add. Bon dia, Carl. Still raining in the UK. My goodness, will it ever end? You've had that lovely bit of weather. Now the rain is back. My parents live nearby Lisboa, in a little town called Carnagido. I think, yes, I've been past there. And Elra is in Finland, and my brother is in Angola. So there you go. Portuguese parents living near Lisboa, and all the kids are away around the world seeking fame and fortune. I wonder, Elra, as well. I mean, there is a bit of a return, is there not? Portuguese people. I had, when I was thinking of after I got here in Portugal and become a resident, I had a Portuguese workmate who asked me, should I come back to Portugal? I mean, from my point of view, why wouldn't you be here? Come on. But I think it's true to say more and more Portuguese people are thinking about the return now, with the change in circumstances, generally for the country. And, despite all countries being up against it at the moment with the pandemic, there is something to be said very much so for Portugal and coming to Portugal still, despite the pandemic effect. Elra, tell me, Antonio, tell me, do you think more Portuguese people will return to the place of their birth or of their ancestry? Jacqueline CDM from the Silver Coast as well as me. I'm live from the hills of Caldas de Rainha this morning. Caldas de Raining, I think it's fair to say. I'm learning that many people arriving to live in Portugal have also lived in another country other than their homeland before arriving. I love the mixed nationalities and experiences. Yeah, that's also a good insight, Jacqueline. Thank you for that. People do. I think expats are a bit like that, aren't they? I have heard of people who've never been anywhere else and they've never been to Portugal and they come to Portugal, such as the attraction. But I think that's a wise insight there. that expats tend to be wanderers, don't they? And that's another box ticked there for Portugal, that with these people having been so well traveled, they tend to choose Portugal among their, from the palette of their touristic adventures. Feliz Solsticio. There we go. I haven't said that right, but I'm going to say it again. Feliz Solsticio. There we go. Feliz Solsticio from Thunderduck. An appropriate and ancient greeting, I suspect. Nobody telling me yet how they acknowledge this midsummer and the summer solstice yet. Come on, you hippies, don't be afraid to come out of the hippie closet. It's becoming more and more acceptable, of course, and has been generally since the 1960s. Dr. Ihab Rashid, good morning to you, Dr. Rashid. Good morning, Carl. Hello from Dubai. Good morning to you in Dubai. How is it there? We've heard of a sandstorm. We've heard from Saudi this morning and the sandstorm somewhere in the Middle East. I'm not sure where you are, Dr. Rashid. 13 days until my return to Lisboa. Counting down there again. We've got a few countdowns going on, haven't we? Andrew Gilchrist, one of them. 13 days and can hardly wait, says Andrew. Bon dia, says Jill Davis from sunny Scotland. Good. Oh, so that's where the sun is this morning, in Scotland, Bonnie, Scotland. Good morning to you, Jill. You're a football fan? What did you make of that? Bon dia, the weather on Terceira is super sunny. Okay, so there we go. The sun is to be found in Scotland and Terceira this morning. Thank you, Donna, for that update, weather update. We saw the Gulbenkian Symphony last night. It was fantastic. I bet it was. And that's probably on social media somewhere. You have to go to the Gulbenkian Museum Gallery in Lisboa. It is the most delightful collection of all things art, craft, and great, of the great culture of humanity. Yes, some of our prouder moments celebrated there in the Gulbenkian Museum, notwithstanding possibly a bit like the Elgin marbles, a few things borrowed from other cultures, but I'll leave that political hot potato to one side for just one moment. Suffice to say that, Fabergé eggs, Lalique, what are they? Lalique glassware, Lalique stuff. The most incredible artists, sculptors, something of every possible artistic pinnacle represented at the Gulbenkian Museum. And there you go. Look, they have an orchestra as well, says Thunderduck. And I suspect that performance is immortalized somewhere on the internet. So that sounds beautiful. Are you actually there, Thunderduck? Tell us more. Edmundo Viegas, question: is it true that after the 24th of June, people who are double vaccinated can fly to Portugal without a return quarantine? I'm thinking that's going to be different country to country. But the important thing in many ways here is, can our North American friends now arrive with the vaccination certificate as part of their conditions of entry? Has anyone confirmed that? And is that happening for anyone in our community in real life? Personal testimony, let us know, please. I don't know the answer to that, but I'm sure the hive mind here, Edmundo, will be of some help. Carl, are those Bayer Dynamic headphones? They look like mine. They are great cans. They really are. Fantastic. Yeah, I wanted to look like the big boys of broadcasting, and they are. Shall I give you what I look like without these on for a minute, and I'll tell you what they are? Yes, Bayer Dynamic DT770 Pro for you nerds out there, you audio nerds. They are beautiful. The headphones are mandatory in this studio, and are masks still mandatory in Portugal? My understanding of this, Daniel, is that you should wear a mask, generally speaking, if you can't social distance. And there are certain other conditions, like you've got to wear your mask up to the beach, I believe, as well. So we are definitely in that very confusing and a multiplicity of little laws that overlap each other. But generally speaking, Portuguese people very compliant with the mask wearing. But there's a few who are beginning to follow the actual guidance, which is you don't have to wear it unless you can't socially distance. So out and about, if you are driving in your car on your own, you probably don't have to, but you can if you want to. And jogging, saw someone jogging in Lisbon with a mask on. Don't think you have to do that, but they were probably running past people. So there's a little bit of social etiquette in that as well, that has grown as a mask culture, I think. But I think, strictly speaking, on the guidance is that you have to wear it where you can't socially distance, notwithstanding other little nuances around catering, hospitality, and beaches. Okay, so Oh, okay. Antonio thinks yes, but Antonio, surely not yes, as in you got to wear it all the time. Okay, but Antonio F, I'm sure we'll be back with a little bit more on that. It's not coming home. It's not coming home. That's how we begin, isn't it? With all these big football tournaments, football's coming home. Or maybe it's not. Oh no, it definitely isn't. Hopefully they can reverse that woeful trend that we've become used to. I do hope so. I do hope that they can at least come home heroic. That for me is the problem. Is that what seems to be absent from global football and a lot of sport is the plucky loser, thing that people have tried hard rather than just got too bothered about money and looking good. I guess that's an insight about our culture generally, isn't it? Is that the wish to not look bad and concerns about, like the sponsorship thing with Ronaldo. Too much emphasis on that, right? And not enough on sportsmanship and having a really good go. Because, I mean, don't we all love somebody who's tried hard, even if they've lost, rather than somebody who never really got going because they were too worried about something or other, whether it be money, reputation, or something like that. So where's the pluckiness, England and others? I want to know. And yeah, what happened to Portugal on Saturday night? Bom dia from João Gloria as well. Bom dia to you, João. Tudo bem? Anita Rita Vieira, bom dia alegria. Some sun from Cascais as well. Okay, so we are redressing the balance, the sun deficit, and some signs of sun on Midsummer's Day here. Only right. Okay, there you go. So yes, only when you can't do social distancing, as I suspected there, plus the other little, local and specific guidance on masks there. Daniel, carry one would be my advice. Keep one in your pocket. Andrew Gilchrist, we definitely don't want to finish top of this group, or we play one of Portugal, France, or Germany. Yes, there is that. Gary Austin, tactical there. That's not plucky though, is it, Phil? That's tactical. Again, that's the cynicism, isn't it, of the tactical game, and what was it, that big thing about was it the tactical foul or whatever? That was a bad moment. That was a horrible corner to turn, wasn't it? The professional foul. There you go. The professional foul. Not good. That was a sad moment. A long time ago now, but it marked the state. Something. Oh, the sun's coming out here now. That's fantastic. Yeah, the professional foul, epitomizing all that's wrong in many areas of life. Have you checked the weather for later this week? Gary, there's a great idea. Instead of going on about it as it is today, I will come back to that. That's a very good reminder, and a reminder to come back to your midsummer message as well, which is very poignant and beautiful, I have to say. Talking of men being vulnerable as we were on Friday, Gary continuing that trend right from the heart, his message. Stay tuned for that. The only thing that would bring me home would be my family or retirement. Interesting. Until then, I will explore and experience trying to grow and exterminate prejudice. Look at that. There's a movie, The Prejudice Exterminator. I will be back to take away all your shortcomings in your thought processes. Elra, the prejudice exterminator there. Incredible. What a mission around the globe that you're on with there. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Over there in Finland, I've just ordered a Via Verde transponder for our upcoming trip. Check you out. Including Spain and Portugal. Higher charges, $125 a month. First month, $499. Seems good value. Can anyone confirm how well this works? It's quite well, I was going to say it's an amazing device. It's an amazing device to spend loads of money automatically from the comfort of your car, really. The one when I use hire cars, generally speaking, and the old transponder on the windscreen has not been a problem at all. The problem has been driving with the camper van into just straight through the Via Verde and getting 80 or 90 euro fine at the other end. So do something about it. And I think the transponder route is a good thing. And I think there are different companies offering that. Did you get your Via Verde direct from the Portuguese government, or was it from a third party, Bearders22? Sounds like a good question for the forum, the best in these departments. And if you want to get a second opinion on the company you're using, just pop that in the subject line in the forum, expatsportugal.com/community. Chance would be a fine thing. I think that's more football talk there. The Gulbenkian collection is quite impressive, isn't it? That's what's going back to oil rigs. That's what it sounds like. Was he called August Gulbenkian, the man behind Galp, right? The petrol and petroleum and energy company that we know today. Gulbenkian was behind that, and in a time when people became fabulously wealthy and needed something to do with their money and their life by having conquered completely material security and fabulous wealth. And then what do? You employ the Indiana Jones types, don't you, to go around the world collecting artifacts. And that's exactly what's happened at the Gulbenkian Museum. It is an incredible and impressive collection for sure. Antonio F, it works very well, but for residents is much cheaper. Oh, that's interesting. And I see that the after pressure down in the Algarve on the toll roads there, the toll road fees have been slashed by a half, I think, Antonio F. And quite rightly. I mean, they are overpriced, aren't they? Especially, you can see, can't you, that people vote with their wheels and go a different route. You're sometimes on those toll roads on your own for half an hour. You might not see another car, and that can't be very good value. But then again, if the taxpayers foot in the bill and it was an EU-funded thing in the first place, maybe people aren't bothered, apart from everyday people, that is. I think the Czechs may score 5 own goals, just to be certain they don't finish top. There you go, more tactics. Tactical game. Let's have a look. Tamara's here as well. Hello, Tamara. 8 days for me. Another countdown there. So we got a 31, a 13, and an 8, I think. So excited. Do you have a place? And how did you find it? Fantastic to see you're all chatting with each other. That's brilliant. Sounds like it. A trip from Lisboa to Algarve on the A2 can cost 25 euros. Yeah, it's expensive using the toll roads, but they are beautiful. I'll be there from the 25th of June. Another countdown in progress there for almost 3 months. And the braai is still on offer. Yes, the South African barbecue in Portugal. That's a great hybrid, isn't it? Thank you for that invitation, Ana Lucia Gilda Pereira, this morning. Any relation to the great Gilda, I wonder? I guess at some level, yes. To enter Portugal, you will need proof of a negative COVID test, despite you are vaccinated or not. But are the American government allowing people to travel yet to Europe for tourism? Jersey. Thanks for that, by the way. I have those exact same headphones, just bought ashore. Look, there are quite a few audio nerds here, aren't there, as it turns out. So look at Penny rocking her Bayer headphones and her Shure MV7 microphone. Does hypnotherapy, of course. So look into my eyes, look into my eyes. Got to have a nice light, really good setup for that sort of thing. Can't just be saying that into your iPhone. Antonio F, are you just visiting or coming to live? We all want to know, Bearders22. My Portuguese missus already had an apartment in Lisboa, which we have thoroughly modernized. It used to be her father's place, so it was needing lots of TLC. Tell us about that, Andrew. What did it have that surprised you, and what have you done? Presumably, you might have had 1 or 2 trips to IKEA, or did you go much higher end and employ a Hollywood interior designer for that? We have a holiday home in Lagos, says Bearders22. Excellent. We are arriving homeless. So first up is finding an apartment. Go into our directory for that. One place, if you haven't looked already, is the accommodation company that we work with, whose name I often cannot call to mind. And I'm determined to let you know what it is. If I can find it in our own directory here. Under where would we be? Real estate, moving and shipping. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put the general link in there. Maybe someone else can help me out. And why can I never remember the name of that company? But they are a competitor to Airbnb. But they'll give you a longer lease. It's not just overnight stays and maybe a little bit longer. They are going for the longer standing residency, and I think you should, or lease. So you should definitely look at that tomorrow. I'll come back to that if I remember and if we have time. But at least you booked a hotel, you say, which is fantastic. You should be all right. You should be all right. It's not reckless. It's exciting. So well done on the hotel booking. Are you at Martinhal? Did I mention I went to Martinhal? Absolutely marvelous Martinhal. Recommend the Chiado ones. If you have a Portuguese bank account, you can have a much cheaper price, paying $5.75 a year with the first year free of charge. That's amazing. That gets you hooked, doesn't it? Okay, so thank you for that, Antonio F. On the transponders, that is. Morning, Carl. I think you need a Barcelos cockerel on your shelf alongside some highbrow titles. Pete, come on. If you look a bit closely, the reason you can't make out my Barcelo cockerel is because I haven't got around to repairing his coxcomb just yet. But there it is. I mean, it's not. This is a beautiful gift and of great sentimental value to me because Donna Grassa gave it to me, who you may remember. But unfortunately, it fell over from the stage set you see behind me when it was in a different place, and I've yet to stick the comb back on. But you're right, I want to go back to my green screen. I really do. This is far too Mrs. M for my liking. And these high heels in the background with a clock on them give the wrong impression of me, I believe. But you're right, Pete. I'm just sorry that I could make a really crass joke in response to what you're saying there, but I'm not going to. Andrew, I chose Millennium BCP, but there are many. Okay, so it's bank talk. This is great stuff for the forum as well. There will be threads existing there on the best experiences people have had at bank. So you can join our forum free of charge, but we like it when you become a premium member, okay? And you can do that retrospectively. If you're in the condition where you're thinking, I've got so much value from Expats Portugal and it's all free, you might think to yourself, I'll tell you what, I'm going to bung them a few quid for all of this. 47 euros a year. Come on, what's that? A tiny amount, less than €4 a month, isn't it, for all the value, and a daily show live stream. So if you want to sort of retro love us, is that all right thing to say? You can do that, but by coughing up a premium fee, and then of course you get all the benefits that premium members get as well. It's not too late to become a premium member, even if you've left it too long and haven't made that commitment to us. Jackie is here as well. Hi from a rainy Torquay. Hello, Jackie. How are you? Jackie Polly. And Garvo with a comment before his Midsummer message. Via Verde, very good to use, and lots of offers and discounts if you join too. And their service stations are very good, aren't they? Direct from their site, Via Verde. Okay, you only pay the monthly charge in the months you use it. Very good. So Via Verde definitely getting a thumbs up from us collectively here. I got the Via Verde transponder first year for free, says Thunder Duck. Brilliant. And talk back and forth between our lovely people in our community here. Thank you for all the comments to me and to each other. That's fantastic. A little bit of negative feedback there. I had to reconnect my debit card several times. Rolls eyes emoji that hasn't come up on the comment there. So these things happen, don't they? It would seem as well. Spot a home. Thank you so much, Jerry. Spot a home. I'm going to burn that into my mind now. Spot a home, spot a home, spot a home. So there you go. Look for Spot a home on our business directory. Rachel, that's not the one I was looking for, but there's another option, of course. And if you're looking to buy, do use our property search feature, which you'll also find at expatsportugal.com if you're looking for property longer term. Pete says, were you just waiting to say this, Pete? Sorry, it looks like it's the famous Barcelos snail. Caracois. You're right. It does look like a snail. I've got to sort that out. Adding that to my very long list of DIY jobs on the homestead at the moment. We were lucky enough to be recommended a fabulous builder who showed us where to get quality fixtures and fittings. Bespoke kitchen I have to discuss on the man cave. Yes, we would look forward to hearing about that. Actually, that's really useful information on engaging local builders and finding good stuff, good materials here. Andrew, let's do that for sure on the man cave. As I understand it, we don't need a test to enter Spain. Both double jabs, says Bearders22. This seems daft, as this then swerves negative test to enter Portugal. EU seems to be very uncohesive. Is that a word? Even if it's not a word, we totally understand what you're saying there. And I think it's fair to say that there are some inconsistencies in this part of the pandemic as we go into it, and all sorts of confusing information is arising. It's a minefield, you know. Let's face it. And Thunderduck selling for me 47 for the first year, and then half price, I should add. How about that? So yeah, don't wait for. Don't leave it. You know, if you think we've done you proud, how about blessing us with 47 euros for your premium membership? And if you want to find out more about it, actually, the recording, the show I did, when was it? I think on Thursday. The first place to look in Portugal. See what I did there, and that is, you know, obviously look at our site and join our site. It's been incredibly popular, way into four figures. And is it because of my slightly clickbaity title, I wonder? But I mean it. You know, this is the first place you should look, because our information is encyclopedic, our community is incredibly helpful and supportive, and we have a lot of fun together every morning. Where else do you get that? I've been meaning to check the directory and forum, so do it today, says Tamara. Thanks for that prompt, I think, there. Penny Albertella, hi, Jackie, from the other side of the rainy bay. Look at that, those Torbay people speaking to each other. Torbados, they call it sometimes. I think it may be. Oh, it's not a Torbados day today. Thanks for all the advice, retransporters. Much appreciated. That is exactly what we're here for. We're driving from, hold on a minute, tomorrow. We're driving from France and we're getting a test no matter what. 500 euros if they require it and you don't have one. Yes, I think you can make a bit of a saving there. I heard you need a PCR test within 48 hours in Spain, but Portugal none. Still getting one for both. That is a very good insurance policy tomorrow. Very wise. As a regular visitor, the best is to request the LEV, the light option, which you just pay 0.7 plus tolls. So yes, 70 cents plus tolls only in the months you use it. That's a good deal. Thank you, Antonio F, for sharing that for anyone who might need that sort of information. Okay, so let me share with you once more. We will finish with the weather and that lovely little story about, actually got a confusing story about missing pigeons. So we went from missing little boy to missing pigeons over the weekend. But I'll share this with you now because what's hilarious about little Noah is that the Portuguese Navy has sent 2-year-old survivor Noah a registration sheet for the Marines. Isn't this hilarious? They've recognized some strong character in that young man. I mean, really, his incredible ordeal, as it might be called in the media. But let me just share this with you on the screen. Portuguese Navy sends 2-year-old survivor Noah registration sheet for the Marines. Quick to appreciate the extraordinary resilience of the little Noah, the child who gripped the nation's hearts last week after he went missing in the dense woodland around his home for 36 hours, over 36 hours. They've sent him an application to join the Marines. He's made of the right stuff, isn't he? Like everyone else who followed this extraordinary story, military professionals were blown away by the fact that a toddler could handle himself so well, despite having removed all his clothes. He's a tough guy, given that he was surrounded by potentially lethal hazards for one so small, particularly rivers and deep wells. He was so lucky, wasn't he? Says I Online, the Navy decided to send him a special message. It ran, Noah, here's a form to join the Marines when you're 18, if you want to. After that, you could become part of our DAE, the Special Forces, where survival skills are fundamental. Enjoy being a child. The whole country is very glad you are back. Isn't that fantastic? Superb. That's a particularly brilliant response, I think, to what went on with little Noah. Okay, let's go to the hills of Alvazara. That was where this video you're about to see was recorded. What time, Gary? Were you up there about 6 o'clock this morning? Whereupon you recorded this beautiful message for us. So let's hear it now. This from Garvo, the man of reason, as we call him, in the Expat Man Cave. Here we go.
Well, it's been a funny old year, really. Lost some things, gained a lot of things. Strange year in which everything seems to have gone upside down, but unrecognisable. And here I sit on top of a mountain, shrouded in the clouds, on the 21st of June, summer solstice day, which should be beaming with sunshine, and you should see a hugely enjoyable view. But in this strange world that we've had, it's different. You can't see the valley, you can't see the other mountains. There's so much you can't see, but I know that's out there. Which is a strange little message, really, in this peculiar world in which we find ourselves. But I suppose the message is there. There is beautiful things out there if you just try and find them. I know this because I've been here on many different occasions. But today, it's got a certain quality about it that is peaceful, relaxing, almost therapeutic, I suppose. I will come back here and make a video where you can actually see the view, but today is a special day, reflecting on a year that's been very sad, personally, but then again, enormously enjoyable, enormously fulfilling from a personal point of view and a general point of view. I've made some beautiful friends and shared some really, really, truly wonderful moments. So even from the darkest of times, marvellous things can happen. And there's a message. So, yeah. Think about life, peeps. It's not all dark. There is light, even though sometimes you can't see it.
Check him out there. Isn't that a beautiful sentiment? Thank you very much for that, Garvo. Man of reason from the man cave there. And we look forward to the sunny version from the hilltop in Alvazra there, cheekily known as Alviagra among some of us. It's been a funny old year. Nice message, says Lee, who will be back later on this as a head gardener for the gardening Q&A. Yes, a deep mist in central Portugal there this morning. And very wisely, we'll finish with the weather because Gary very wisely suggested we should do so. And I've got good news for you in the weather department. And love and appreciation for Gary there from Jacqueline CDM. Beautiful sentiment. Thanks for that, Gary. You are welcome anytime. You're like our thought for the day guy here on the Good Morning Portugal show. And from Stephen Wells, cheers, Garvo, as well, as we affectionately call him. Okay, I'm going to go to this. Before we just conclude with the weather this morning, let me tell you about this morning as well. Confused pigeons. So a little boy went missing last week, thankfully, mercifully found. Miraculously found, racing pigeons totally confused by Portugal's horrible weather. We're going to find out in just a moment whether that's going to continue. For anyone bemoaning the state of Portugal's weather over the last few days, just thank your lucky stars you're not a racing pigeon. I often do, I promise you. Hundreds of them have been horribly confused by the inclement conditions. What a fabulous word. Inclement, I'm going to go with. To the extent that a Porto Algarve event has seen many blown right off course. Let's dig a bit deeper into this. Or is it just a one paragraph story? No, it's not. And some of them have been blown off course, so much so that they've gone to Spain for a little bit of a holiday. Maybe they knew what they were doing. Spanish authorities are on the case in bunny ears and doing their best to inform the concerned Portuguese Federation of Colombophilia. Now, we're learning a lot today, aren't we? We got a lovely sentiment from Gary there. And word of the day could well be Colombophilia, which you could imagine was, a love of a notable 70s detective show. But Colombophilia apparently is pigeon racing. And I think I prefer pigeon racing to Colombophilia. This is not a laughing matter. Oh, sorry. Of the roughly 10,000 birds that took part in the Porto Algarve race, described as athletes by the sector that prizes them, only 3,000 have so far returned home. Imagine they're late, aren't they, rather than just completely disappeared. Hopefully they've not been frangoed or anything like that. Many of these birds marked with a coloured ring on each foot are being rescued in Galicia and Asturias, more than 500 kilometres from the starting point of the event, explains DN. Yes, the paper or news source. A Federation trailer is on its way to Spain today, may have even arrived by now, hoping to load up with 138 birds that have been recovered, some described as veritable stars of their sport, the Cristiano Ronaldos of pigeon racing, no less. I think is this Natasha's? Yeah, Natasha's milking it a little bit here, I think. Said José Luis Jacinto, president of the Ruffled Federation. She enjoyed writing this, didn't she? We have a meteorologist working with us, making forecasts. This Saturday, for example, we had to delay another race because conditions weren't right to let the birds go. But last weekend, something abnormal happened. It wasn't detectable over the radar, and it meant that the weather really disoriented the birds. Many could have entered the sea and had difficulties getting out. Many alighted in the Balengues, in the islands. Others got lost in the Alentejo. This is like certain parts of this community as well, isn't it, Frank? And some ended up in Galicia. It is here that El País, the Spanish daily, has picked up on the drama, explaining that a pigeon-fancying policeman Enrique Garcia had been noticing that every time he let his birds go, they came back with new friends. Yay to Portuguese-Spanish relations there. He was able to see from these birds' rings that they came from Portugal. Garcia set about giving the birds food and shelter because they were hungry and exhausted. And then he contacted the Portuguese Federation of Colombophilia. But the birds kept coming, says DN, the news source. Now Mr. Garcia seems to have amassed athletes from 9 different Portuguese breeders. Hey, Hola, bon dia. I've got your birds here. Once El País reported on this story, more reports started coming in from other Spanish pigeon fanciers. That's a better phrase for them, isn't it? Rather than Columba filiists. So more reports came in from other pigeon fanciers who found themselves hosting newly arrived Portuguese birds. Over 50 have been recovered in various Galician municipalities, most of them quickly revived with food and rest. I wonder what we can do. And what do you give a hungry, exhausted bird? You've got to give it some water, obviously, and a bit of corn or something like that. Insist DN, Diaria de Noticias, these birds are real athletes. The sport of pigeon racing in Portugal is vibrant. I discovered this, at a local pet shop. Nelson in the pet shop was a pigeon fancier, and there's big prize money in it. Indeed, it is considered to be the second national sport in terms of fans. What? Presumably behind football, though this is not explained. Did you know that? Every week, 50 trucks release Portuguese pigeons as their owners wait, usually without this level of stress for them to return. Portuguese derbies are international events with thousands of participants. The paper continues. The simple process of entering a bird for a race can cost the pigeon fancier €300, while the birds themselves can change hands for thousands, which is nothing in comparison to the prices in Northern Europe. Apparently, okay. So if you spy a tired-looking pigeon with professional rings on its legs, it's got to have the bling going on there, a bird bling. The best course of action is to catch it if they're not afraid of people. Can you imagine people all over Portugal doing this now? And then contact the Federation on 910-729-544. Good luck with that. I hope your Portuguese is up to it. The furthest a Portuguese racing pigeon. Hello? Yeah, hola, bom dia. Tem avô aqui. To date, the furthest a Portuguese racing pigeon seems to have flown off course is 2,222 kilometers straight into a bucket of paint in Plymouth, UK. And if you want that story, I'm going to put the link for that. I'm not going to read it now, but isn't that a bizarre thing that some of our community listeners this morning are listening in from Devon, where a Portuguese, everything's connected here, isn't it? Where a Portuguese pigeon veered off course 2,222 kilometers straight into a bucket of Plymouthian paint. Incredible, this morning. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at what you're saying before we have a very quick look at the weather, because it's very good news in that department. That was beautiful, says Nubianet. I just woke up for Gary's message there. Fantastic. You could hear something, couldn't you? A disturbance in the force as Gary's message came through. Garvo wandered lonely as a cloud. Yes, his wonders to perform. That floats, not the right poem. That floats on higher vales and hills when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Now in Al Viagra, that wouldn't be it could be a host of golden daffodils, but I suspect, what would it be? A host of golden what there? Garvo, Penny Albertella, lovely message from Gary. Our outdoor solstice yoga is likely to be via Zoom, which is a shame. Okay. It was 6 o'clock this morning, says Garvo. People are loving that, Garvo. Do come back with the sunny version at some point, please. I'm not even surprised by this article. My high school had a Columbophilia club. Who had heard of Columbophilia before this morning? Not me. Bon dia from Maxine. Hello, Maxine. And I think it's time to go for a last quick look at the weather. So let me bring that onto the screen for you with some excellent news that we have a beautiful week to look forward to. If the weather forecasting is correct, which let's go with that it might be, okay, because that's quite important given how the weather is at the moment and has been the last few days. Look at this. Are you seeing this yet, folks? No, you're not. If I do this, you will be. There you go. The Expats Portugal weather this morning, brought to you by Expats Portugal. Here's a sponsorship opportunity. If you'd like to sponsor the Expats Portugal weather report, which I think I will start doing daily in the summer, especially when it looks like this, do contact us, and we'll put you in touch with Astrid, who will do you a great deal. Can you imagine your name here? Annunci aqui, I'm going to say there. So Lisbon today, 21 degrees and rainy. Okay, that's just today. Tomorrow, you're looking forward to 22 degrees, rising to 29 and 28 by the weekend. Okay, so in new money, That's 84 and 82 Fahrenheit after we've got this rainy Monday, Midsummer's Day behind us. In Porto, a similar picture. After we've got past Monday and Tuesday, we're up to 23 and 21 at the weekend. How good is that? In Coimbra, Frank, this is where Frank will forgive me for recommending to him that he moved to Coimbra. He's going to be moaning about, oh, why did you, man, I swear to God, why did you make me move to Coimbra? It's now 32 and 30. Frank doesn't speak quite like that. But look, he's got a 34-degree Friday, which he can moan about as well. Amazing, huh? 21 today and 23, Monday, Tuesday in Coimbra, rising to 34, 32 and 30 respectively over Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Faro, much cooler than, I guess in every sense, possibly, than Coimbra. A cloudy day today, not a rainy one, but sun forecast for the rest of the week with a weekend of 24 and 24 and a peak on Friday of 25. Let's have a quick look at somewhere like Castelo Branco, where it will be 35 by Friday. Évora will be 36 by the weekend. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Santarém even 35 by Friday. That's looking like the peak of the good weather, isn't it? Friday. Bragança even 31 in a usually cool Bragança. Guarda is often cool, but 30 degrees at the weekend. So there you go. And Porto Alegre, look at that, 35 as well. The high around the country, Porto Alegre enjoying that. Setúbal 28 and 29 respectively over the weekend. I think you get the picture there, right? Villarreal even up in the north, 32 and 30 over the weekend. And just very quickly, can be overlooked, but it's a bit cooler in Madeira. 15 and 17 over the weekend, and still some rainy, cloudy days in the Azores, but 21 and 22 over the coming weekend. There's your weekend weather forecast from this Midsummer Monday. Needed to do that really to show you or give you something to look forward to weather-wise. Thank you so much for being here this morning. And of course, stay tuned or tune in again for the gardening Q&A tonight at 6:15. And we'll be back with you tomorrow with Spartan Effects. I wonder which of my lovely friends at Spartan Effects I'll be talking to tomorrow, Sarah or Ben. Oh, both, and always good value to talk to, and a bit of cockerel's coop action. If you've got a business idea or you need a bit of business advice, tune in tomorrow. That's the sort of thing we tend to talk about on a Consumer Tuesday. Take good care today. Keep warm today and be ready to strip off those layers for the excellent weather that's coming this week in Portugal. Take care and bye for now. Beijinhos, abraços.